Next, Colm is heading to Kilkenny to meet a really innovative grower who's managed to produce a Japanese delicacy. But that's not all to this story. There's so much more to Biotanics and what they're trying to achieve.
Situated in the southeast of Ireland, in a small village of Stonyford, is Fitzgerald's Nursery. Here they're successfully growing one of the world's most expensive crops, wasabi. People say that wasabi is one of the hardest plants in the world to grow commercially, so I have to chat to the man who's managed to do it here in Ireland. So what's the difference between this wasabi and the one you might get in the sushi bar?
Most of the sushi bars that we would be getting wasabi in and you're out for a night or whatever, you're lucky if it's a 1% formulation. The rest of it is sometimes mustard, sometimes corn flour, artificial flavouring, artificial colouring, but this one is 100%.
Okay, so it's going to have a much stronger taste, I say.
It's got a different taste. There's actually a sweetness and a pungency in it. Mustard sweetness, if I could describe it in words.
And more impressively is the fact that a kilo of fresh wasabi can cost you about 25 times as much as fresh horseradish.
Have you been brave enough to try wasabi in the past?
I've never had it.
Never? You've never eaten
Never,
wasabi?
no.
You're not going to get out of here without eating it. Take it in little bits and taste.
All right, yeah. There's a kick in there. That's really strong.
So now you know the difference between the real and the fake.
Absolutely.
But the good thing about wasabi is that after a few minutes you get that nice, it's a kind of a mixed sweet pungent flavour. It's gone.
But this is not the end of the wasabi story for Pat Fitzgerald. It's actually only the start of it. The story has a whole other side to it, and it starts here in a laboratory in Enniscorthy. This is the other side of the business. This is Biotanics, and it's here that Pat and his team of researchers, food scientists, agronomists and growers are creating unique plant-based ingredients for the food industry. What they're trying to create will feed the next generation with super nutrients and all the benefits extracted from orphan crops in a new format such as powders, purees, pastes and more.
Us plant people or horticulturalists, we can get the kick out of the growing, but we must go deeper than that. We must find the nutritional, beneficial, the bioactive, the nutraceutical, all of those aspects of the crop.
So you're not just growing pioneering crops, you're also producing value-add products from their extracts.
Yeah, if you're successful with this crop, what are you going to do about the commercial offtake? How are you going to develop the products? Nobody else has done it, so we have to do it ourselves. In that instance, we're doing a lot of deep work on sweet potato, wasabi, and on yacon. But in the background then is lurking yams, uluco, oca, mashua.
And what are you creating with those products?
In the case of the wasabi, we are extracting a puree which can go into mayonnaise, it can go into cheese, right even into your smoothie. We have developed a powder now from the yacon, produced exactly the same way as infant formula.
And what is that used for, that product to extract?
It can be used in a yogurt for a prebiotic or a probiotic or a symbiotic product. We have had success in getting drinks and food companies in taking it in, and thankfully after 5-6 years now, we have some of those companies starting to pay attention to these ingredients we're extracting out of these 3 vegetable crops.
Well, some of the plants you're working on developing the varieties, and then other ones you're focusing on increasing their numbers.
Yeah,
okay.
So when we selected ourselves this plant from a seed, it was one plant.
Okay.
So it came into Abdullah 18 months ago, and he's been working it since, building up 1 makes 2, 2 makes 4, 4 makes 8. It's a whole process, and eventually we get to a population, and then we have a population that's ready to go to production, so that we can every year supply the farmers with clean plant material.
So after the cuttings have been multiplied in the lab setting, they head back to the nursery where a team start the process of propagating the plants into larger numbers. And at the nursery, it's not only orphan crops that Pat works with. He grows a huge amount of ornamental plants as well as other food crops.
And our contribution is conserving these crops, bringing them into a clean environment. They cannot be stored as seed. You cannot get the nutritional benefits of a particular variety unless the variety is true to type. And the only way to keep a vegetatively produced crop true to type and keep it secure is in our variety bank.
There's a large propagation business in the Kilkenny nursery, and there's a few more questions I have for Pat about the benefits of the crops he's growing. And all these plants have individual health benefits as well.
Exactly. So some of these crops can't have them as fresh 12 months of the year. You have to haul them from one side of the world to the other if you want them as fresh. The technologies now that we are using are high-end technologies, gentle technologies, energy efficient technologies, and they're preserving the nutrition in some cases up to 97% of the original nutrition. So we try and bring the product into the food chain either as a fresh vegetable or as a functional powder or puree.
So not only do these plants have great health benefits, it's also the first time a lot of them are grown in Ireland.
Yeah, and basically that has been one of our key objectives. We have a lot of stuff we can't grow in Ireland, but we have a lot of stuff we can grow in Ireland. For instance, mashua. Mashua has as much antioxidant in it as broccoli and more, and multiples of some antioxidants. So various different purposes, various different reasons. We're spreading the sustainability footprint of our horticultural production.
Pat and his team started with 3 vegetables and proved that not only can they produce exceptional nutrients, they can also grow vegetables from other parts of the world that will thrive here in Ireland.